Hello and welcome to Take 6. I'm streaming executive producer Thomas Mates, filling in for Julie Broughton. She has the day off. She'll return on Monday. Today we are following the horrific events at Florida State University yesterday. A gunman opened fire on campus, killing at least 2 people and wounding at least 6 others. They remain in the hospital. Coming up in about a half hour, we are expecting a press conference from the hospital with more details on the victims and their conditions as they stand right now. So we will bring that to you live. News 6 anchor Bridget Ellison will be here to break all that down for you. Again, that's coming up at 1 o'clock from Tallahassee. We have a crew there right now waiting for that press conference to take place. In the meantime, we are working to learn more about the shooter, the accused shooter who opened fire yesterday on the campus of FSU. Details are somewhat sparse at the moment, but we have been digging into everything that we can find about this individual, the accused gunman. To tell us more about what we know so far, we are joined now by News 6 investigator Mike DeForest. Mike, thanks for joining us.
Hey, good morning. So it was kind of stunning yesterday when we first started. We got the first update from law enforcement, and they named the accused gunman in this case, 20-year-old Phoenix Eichner. And law enforcement immediately pointed out that a woman that we now know is to be his stepmother was and is a longtime deputy there in Leon County in Tallahassee. In fact, authorities believe that he may have used his stepmother's what is now her personal weapon. At one time, it appears it was her service weapon issued by the county, but she had since purchased it. But it was her personal weapon, handgun, was allegedly used in that shooting at FSU yesterday. So that's his stepmom, the longtime deputy. Her name is Jessica Eichner. What we've since learned is that his childhood, he was basically caught in the middle of a custody battle between his birth father, who appears to now be married to that deputy, and his birth mother, who is originally from Norway. And what court records are now showing is that when Phoenix Eichner was about 10 years old, his birth mother allegedly kidnapped him as part of a custody agreement with the father. At this point, they were no longer together. The father had remarried, and through their custody agreement, she was not allowed to leave the country with their son, and apparently did. According to court records, she took off to Norway with the boy. Wouldn't say when she was coming back. And so the father ends up contacting law enforcement, and eventually she does return. The mother was arrested at the airport when she returned, and eventually entered into a plea agreement. But what came out of this in the court records, as we're learning more about Phoenix Eichner, the 20-year-old accused gunman, is that when he was a child, he was on medication for severe health and mental issues. That's all according to his father in these court records. Apparently he was on some growth hormones, had a growth disorder according to his dad, and suffered from ADHD, and also had some developmental delays. Something interesting else to point out here, in these court records, the name that authorities identified the gunman was Phoenix Eichner. But court records show that when he was a child, his name, he actually went by Christian Erickson. That's his birth mother's last name, Erickson. And it appears it was a few years ago, he may have changed his name. Several of his former classmates, when they learned about the shooting at FSU yesterday, said, well, yeah, we knew him as Christian Erickson, not Phoenix Eichner. We don't know exactly when his name change took place, and we don't know the reasons why. Interestingly, the name Phoenix can represent the legend of the bird that rose from the ashes and was renewed. And so one might speculate that as a part of this custody issue, and now him being the father taking full custody of him several years ago as part of this battle involving this alleged kidnapping, that's when the name change took place. But nonetheless, we're getting a glimpse into his childhood and some of the potential mental health issues that he may have had.
Yeah, and Mike, I know you've been spending more or less the last 24 hours just digging into this. As soon as we learned the name, we were looking for more information on this individual, and that search continues. So what are you working on today insofar as, what additional information we're hoping to find out?
I mean, and it's something. Sadly, this is kind of a routine whenever we have these mass shootings. Is everybody wants to know the name? You want to learn the background, and I think it's because everybody wrestles with that question: why? How did this happen? And I think history shows that sometimes you never get satisfaction in whatever answers come up with. But obviously, I think a lot of folks, this shooting impacted so many people yesterday, not just the people who were tragically killed and their families, the people who were wounded, but also all of those students at FSU, all of their parents who were not there, who were certainly panicking, and of course, all of us in the state of Florida who were just aching when we heard about this news yesterday. So there is this natural curiosity to know about the gunman and about his past, try to piece together a motive. Of course, that's what law enforcement is doing right now, is trying to figure out exactly what may have led up to this shooting and were there any signs. We just don't know. And sometimes we get to the ends of these and there is no information and you can't explain it, but it's still very early on. And part of my job is to just kind of look in to see what's the public record showing about this.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we're also reaching out to the school. We had heard that he was a student there, and so we're looking for transcripts or any other additional information they may be able to provide about him. And I know this is going to be a long process, but I think it's important to stress that we are looking for whatever answers are available, and it's going to be at least some time before we get all the details, or at least all the details that are available. Absolutely. So, Mike, thank you so much for your time today. I know you're going to be very busy digging into all of this further, so I'm going to let you go for right now. But thank you so much for your time and your expertise, and we'll see more of you coming up this afternoon on News 6.
We'll be back at 5 o'clock. Take care.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Okay. With that, we are now going to take a look at UCF is also stepping up security today following the shooting on campus at FSU. They are also providing extra resources for students who may be experiencing some mental duress from this experience and this news. News 6's Mark Lehman was on campus today to see what's being done for the students there.
Echoing loudly for some students are thoughts of Tallahassee. What goes through your mind when you hear about that shooting?
I just think it's a travesty. It shouldn't be happening.
For sophomore Noemi Tilke, Thursday's mass shooting hit very close to home. One of her friends is a student at FSU. Luckily, she was off campus at the time.
Instantly texted her and asked if she was okay. She instantly responded back to me, so I was able to breathe again.
In the wake of the violence, UCF police increased patrols on their campus as a precaution, saying safety is the top priority. Do you feel safe on campus?
I feel safe on campus, yeah. I always see the police rolling around. I think they're good to have.
With all of this having a big impact on the collegiate community, UCF invited students, faculty, and staff here to the Magnolia Room at the Live Oak Event Center. They're calling it a space for reflection for fellow Knights, sharing in healing and comfort.
Does that bring you some comfort knowing that those resources are here for you?
Yes, they do. I actually use them all, and they are very, very, very good.
Jellimar Burgos says it's reassuring to see the university offering the space and other avenues for mental health support like its crisis hotline. Meanwhile, the prayers continue for FSU.
I just want to support them and just know that we are all UCF students. We are here for them.
I just send all my prayer and love for every single student that's there. It's a very heartbreaking time, and I'm very sorry that they had to go through this.
Reporting at UCF, Mark Lehman, News 6.
As I mentioned before, we are about 20 minutes away from a press conference or a news conference at the hospital, Tallahassee Memorial up in Tallahassee, where some of those victims are being treated. We are expecting an update on their conditions and how they're faring after this tragic event yesterday on the campus of FSU. News 6's Kat Silver is on the scene today up in Tallahassee, following the story, following whatever developments come out of this news conference. She'll have more coming up on News 6 this afternoon. News 6's Bridget Ellison will be here around 1 o'clock to help you break down the new information coming out of this press conference that we're expecting at the hospital. Of course, we also have a plethora of information available right now on clickorlando.com. What Mike and I spoke about just a moment ago, what we know about Phoenix Eichner, the accused shooter, what we know about what happened yesterday on the campus, and of course also we've got to look at the history of gun violence on school campuses with that breakdown done by News 6 investigator Donovan Myrie. All of that is available right now on clickorlando.com. DeLand.com. You can also hear reaction from students who were on campus at the time of the shooting, and you can also hear from News 6 reporter Molly Reed. She was on the campus of FSU during the 2014 shooting on the campus there. She has a really heart-wrenching story about her experience in that scary situation. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to be taking a look at the city of DeLand, which is experiencing some issues with flooding, and there is a controversial plan that could mitigate some of that flooding. News 6's Molly Reed will have more on that coming up in just about 2 minutes. Welcome back to Take 6. The time now is 12:42. Again, we are about 18 minutes away from a planned news conference out of Tallahassee Memorial Hospital. Expected to get an update on the victims of the shooting at Florida State University yesterday. We will bring that to you live right here on News 6, on the News 6 streaming app, on clickorlando.com, and on YouTube. Again, that's coming up in just about 18 minutes. In the meantime, we are looking at the city of DeLand, which has been dealing with some trouble spots when it comes to flooding, and now the county is looking at potential solutions. However, those solutions are being met with some controversy, as one family may even lose their home to these flooding mitigation plans. News 6's Molly Reed spoke with them yesterday.
A lot of these folks along Taylor Road here have taken matters into their own hands. In the meantime, this couple building a berm after their house flooded in both Ian and 22 and Milton last year. Now the county says it's done the study and has 3 possible solutions. It's quite a shock, I'm sure, to see that one of the possible solutions is to tear your house down.
It was a shock. It was a shock. I will admit it was a shock.
Pam Teeter and her husband have put thousands into fixing up their house since Milton. Just finished the work last week. They hope the county presents them a fair offer.
Well, the first thing we plan to do is enjoy our home for as long as we can.
Yeah.
And hope for the best.
The county presented these solutions from the study to the Taylor Road area residents Wednesday night. The 3 are installing a pump station at an existing retention pond, expand that retention pond, install a gravity outfall at that pond, which would require the county to acquire the Teeters property next door. The county says they would have to do all 3 of those solutions for the flooding problems to truly stop.
It's the same old runaround story with blaming it on rainfall. Like we haven't had water for the last 6 years.
Resident JC thinks more needs to be studied with the water new development is bringing to the area and moving around to create real change here.
2021, the city's experts said shut down all water movement. Still to this day, it hasn't stopped.
Now the county says they can't start working towards any of these solutions until next year, meaning these folks have one more hurricane season to get through before any solution is actually put in place. In DeLand, Volusia County, I'm Molly Reed, News 6.
It's a tough situation for those people. Hopefully they get some results from these ongoing conversations about how to mitigate that flooding issue. We're now going to take a look at a story that came to us from a News 6 viewer about an eaglet who was in trouble and finally got some help. News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez went to speak with her about the bald eagle and how they got help for that animal.
And I came out one morning, Monday morning, and I noticed that they were not on the nest.
Jessie Dixon has lived in Kissimmee for 8 years. She says what sold her on the house was Betsy and Benjamin, her 2 avian neighbors.
A bald eagle flew over us and went and landed on the nest, and I could see that it was a nest, and I was like, sold.
As a volunteer eagle watcher, she monitors their nests and reports their movements to the Audubon Center for Birds of Prey. Last week, she discovered their baby, or eaglet, was gone.
So my husband and I, we walked over around the lake and over to the nest, and we found the eaglet under the nest.
She then realized it only had one eye, meaning it likely wouldn't survive in the wild. Unable to capture it that day, the Audubon Center for Birds of Prey coordinated a search party.
And so we were able to get him, and now he's at the Center of Birds of Prey.
The Maitland Center specializes in eagles and is evaluating the eaglet, dubbed Blink by Dixon.
About 12% of our overall patient load is eagles, and last year we admitted 739 patients. That included 89 bald eagles.
Blink will likely never be released given its condition, but it is getting the treatment it needs to survive.
The vet did come and see it, so to determine it is missing an eye, so a diurnal bird with one eye. Our criteria here is that we don't release diurnal birds with one eye. They need both eyes to hunt.
Many of their rescues come from volunteers like Dixon, who spend time helping this symbol of America survive and thrive.
Well, my heart fell when I saw that he wasn't on the nest. I was so relieved when we were able to catch the eaglet. I mean, I didn't think it was going to happen, and so I was very happy, very excited.
In Kissimmee, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
It's a great story. You can see more of it right now on clickorlando.com. This weekend is going to be hot and dry, as it has been for the past several days. And of course, Easter weekend is, there's a lot of people going to be outside for Easter egg hunts and the like. But it's going to be warm, and you'll need to hydrate and bring your sunscreen. News 6 Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos has your full weekend forecast.
I'm News 6 Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos. Thank you for heading on to clickorlando.com and our News 6 weather app. Now, we are going to continue to stay warm, dry, and breezy in the forecast for the next 2 days, Friday and Saturday. Highs are going to continue to stay slightly above average with no rain in sight. As we head into your Easter Sunday, though, little to no rain expected in the forecast, with temperatures creeping up just a little warmer, closing in on near 90 degrees. And speaking of the 90s, that is where we will sit throughout the majority of next week, with rain chances less than about 10 to 20%. So as we take you here hour by hour, so you can plan out your finally Friday, we are into those mid 80s. 84 is going to be our high. Still looking mostly clear, mostly sunny. And as we continue to move into the rest of the afternoon, rain chances again not going to be a concern, although we desperately need it. I'll show you why in just a second. Looking ahead into your Easter Sunday forecast for those waking up a little early for the sunrise services, temperatures will be in those upper 60s. Again, dry across the board. Egg hunts into the afternoon are going to start warming up, upper 70s by 11, but the warmest part of the day will come throughout the afternoon, highs closing in on the upper 80s. But we are still going to have this big ridge of high pressure and control. It's going to deepen and really kind of anchor itself across the western Atlantic. And for that reason, we're not expecting anything big to change into our forecast besides it staying warm and dry. Look at the rainfall over the next couple of days. Here in Central Florida, we're barely going to get any trace of rain. We'll have to wait at least until about possibly Wednesday and Thursday. That's when rain chances do go up just a bit, about 10 to 20%. As of now, we do have Volusia, Seminole, Orange, Lake County, and Polk County under those burn bans as conditions continue to be extremely dry. And as of right now, it looks like most of the Sunshine State for the next month or so will continue to stay on that drying trend. And as we get results here, their full 7-day forecast, it's going to get hot next week, especially on Earth Day with highs in those low 90s.
That'll do it for us here on Take 6 today. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, coming up in just about 10 minutes, we are expecting a news conference from Tallahassee Memorial Hospital that is coming after the tragic shooting that took place on the campus of Florida State University yesterday afternoon. We are hoping to learn more about the victims and their condition and the treatment that's being done to help them recover from this tragedy. We'll have that coming up right as soon as it happens, live here on the News 6 streaming app and on clickorlando.com, and of course the News 6 YouTube page. News 6 anchor Bridget Ellison will be here to break all of that down for us. Thank you again for joining us. We'll be back on News 6 at 4. News 6 meteorologist Jonathan Kegas is filling in for Julie Broughton, and of course we'll have all of the day's headlines, including the latest coming out of FSU. News 6 reporter Catherine Silver is up there right now in Tallahassee, gathering as much information as possible, especially as we await this news conference coming up in less than 10 minutes. So we hope that you'll stick with us and follow our coverage. We appreciate your time today. Have a pleasant day.